So, pros and cons to becoming an LPN or an LVN. Now, I'm just going to call it an LPN for purpose of this video because I'm in North Carolina and we only have LPNs. But LPN and LVN can be used interchangeably. They are virtually the same thing, and it just depends on which area you're in. But why become an LPN? LPNs are great nurses, in my opinion. People that start as LPNs are the best nurses. You can go on and get your BSN, your ADN, your NP, anything you really want to be. But I feel that becoming an LPN lays down the greatest foundation for nursing. I mean, you're out of school and you're ready to work. So, why become an LPN? Let's start with the pros. Number one, you have less prereqs at school. There's less startup. Number two, there's less time in nursing school. The community college that I went to, the LPN program was 11 months. Not kind of broken in semesters, but kind of not broken into semesters. But it ran from August to July, I believe. And 11 months straight through, and you were an LPN if you went to my community college. Other places are 3 semesters or, a year, different differences. But in general, LPNs, you can be an LPN within about a year. Whereas it takes you at least 2 years to become an ADN, plus you add prereqs onto that. So you're looking at about 3 to 4 years to become an RN, whereas you're looking at 1 to 2 to become an LPN. So those are 2 good reasons. Number 3, you start working sooner. Like I said, you graduate with your LPN within about a year. So you're ready to work in that year. Now you got to take your boards, you got to take your NCLEX, but after that, you're ready to go. Number 3 or 4, there is job security in being an LPN. Despite what everyone tells you, that LPNs are going away, they're never going to be around anymore, they're vanishing. Look at a website like Indeed or Glassdoor or whatever hiring website you look at, and you can tell that there are plenty of jobs for LPNs. Now, it may not be the job that you want, but there are plenty of jobs for LPNs. Basically, all of your long-term care, they hire LPNs because no one really wants to do that job. But you can get a bunch of LPNs and run that place. It's really not that bad. So, despite what everyone says to try to push you to get your RN, your ADN, your BSN, there is job security in being an LPN. And number 5, the pay is pretty good to be an LPN. It is definitely better than being a CNA. It's definitely better than being a CMA, a certified medical assistant. And LPNs can get jobs, as anywhere that a nurse can get a job, an LPN can get a job. A hospital, a doctor's office, surgical, research, wherever you find nurses, LPNs can work there. So, that is a quick list of pros. Now, let's do a quick list of cons. Number 1, you're going to get paid less than an RN. That is true. You're going to get paid less. It may be, let's say, equal for equal, same amount of time at the same place. It could be anywhere from cents to dollars less than the RN. You can weigh that with, well, I spent less time in school. Whatever you want to chalk that up to, you're going to make less than an RN. It's just what's going to happen. Number 2, you're going to get the terrible assignments. I've seen this time and time and time again. If you've got a floor full of RNs and 1 LPN, that LPN's about to get the terrible assignment. That's just what happens. Call it bullying, seniority, whatever you want to call it. Typically, those LPNs get booted and then you get the terrible assignment. That's just what happens. You're a nurse, but you're not the RN. You're not the nurse. I hate it. It's just what happens. Another con, number 3, con for being for LPN, is that the job that you get may not be the one that you want. Now, I already said that there's job security in it, but if there's an RN that applies for the job that you want, chances are you're probably not going to get it unless it is LPN specific. You know, it could happen to where it is LPN specific, but it may not. And if an RN applies for it, they are probably going to get it unless you have some sort of seniority over that position. But you know, it's whatever. Number 4, sometimes in some states, this is a con, by the way, LPNs can't do the exact same task as an RN. Now, here in North Carolina, that is a very thin line. It's not very big at all. LPNs can't do like initial assessments, and they can't initiate blood. And other than that, I can't think of any off the top of my head. Now, you can monitor blood as far as like infusions, but you can't initiate them, and you can't do the initial assessment. But you can do every other assessment, and you can monitor that patient who's getting blood. So, not really negatives, but you know, if you're into being the nurse that does everything start to finish, that might be a negative for you. So once again, less school, you're ready to work, job security, pay's not bad, but you're gonna get the terrible assignments. There's less stuff that you can do depending on where you live, and you're gonna get bullied. Not really bullied, I don't say bullied, but you may not get the assignment that you want. You know, it's just what happens. I strongly encourage people becoming LPNs. I truly believe that being an LPN is the strongest foundation you can have as a nurse. I know people say become a CNA. Definitely become a CNA, then become an LPN, then, you know, work your way up. If you find LPN is right for you, and you just want to be an LPN for the rest of your life, that is perfectly fine too. If you become a CNA and say, hey, I just want to do this for the rest of my life, that is also okay. The choice is yours, but I strongly encourage becoming an LPN. I just do. Hope it helps. Thank you much.